I've always dreamed of something more.
That dream can be yours. Come with me to the city.
The city? But who are you?
But be warned, secrets await.
The sun had not fully risen yet, but the village was already awake. A thin line of orange stretched across the sky, gently pushing away the darkness of the night. Roosters crowed from different corners, their voices echoing through the quiet huts made of mud and thatch. Smoke slowly rose from cooking fires, carrying the familiar smell of burning wood into the cool morning air. Monica stood alone by the river. Her bare feet pressed softly into the damp earth as she stared at the calm water before her. The river moved slowly, almost like it was thinking. It reflected her face, but the image trembled with every ripple, as if even the water could not hold her still. She sighed. "Is this all my life will ever be?" she whispered to herself. Behind her, the village was alive with routine. Women were already fetching water. Children chased each other, laughing loudly. Men prepared their tools for the farms. It was the same life every day. Predictable. But to Monica it felt like a cage. She was not like the others, not in her heart. While many were content with the simple rhythm of village life, Monica always felt something pulling her beyond it. She could not explain it, but it was there, deep inside her, like a quiet voice calling her name. "Monica!" A voice shouted from a distance. She turned. It was Grace, her closest friend, running toward her with a clay pot balanced on her head. Grace was breathing heavily, clearly annoyed. "You're here again," Grace said as she reached her. "Every morning the same place. One day, this river will answer you back." Monica smiled faintly. "Maybe it will." Grace rolled her eyes. "Or maybe you think something magical will come out of it and carry you away to a big city." Monica did not laugh this time. "What if it does?" she asked quietly. Grace paused, studying her face. "You're serious?" "I don't belong here, Grace," Monica said softly. "I feel it every day." Grace lowered the pot from her head and placed it on the ground. "This is where we were born. This is where our families are. Where else would you belong?" Monica looked back at the river. "Somewhere I haven't seen yet." Grace shook her head slowly. "The world outside is not as kind as this village. At least here, people know your name." Monica didn't respond. But deep inside, she felt the truth pressing harder against her chest, the truth that knowing your name was not always enough. By midday, the sun was high and unforgiving. Monica walked through the narrow path between huts, carrying a basket of vegetables she had helped harvest. Sweat lined her forehead, but she didn't slow down. She had learned long ago that work did not wait for feelings. As she approached the small marketplace at the center of the village, she noticed something unusual. People were gathered in a way she had never seen before. Whispers filled the air. Curious faces turned in one direction. Even the elders, who rarely left their resting spots under the big tree, were standing. Monica frowned. "What is happening?" she asked a woman passing by. "Someone has come," the woman replied quickly, her eyes wide. "A stranger." Monica's heart skipped. A stranger. That was rare. Very rare. She moved closer, her curiosity growing with every step. The crowd parted slightly, and then she saw him. He stood beside a shiny car, something the village had only heard about but rarely seen up close. His clothes were clean, different, and clearly not made by any local tailor. His posture was confident, and his eyes moved calmly across the crowd, observing everything. Daniel. Though Monica did not know his name yet, something about him immediately felt different. He did not look lost. He did not look afraid. He looked like he belonged anywhere. Pastor Samuel stepped forward, his walking stick firm against the ground. His voice was steady, but his expression carried caution. "You are welcome," the pastor said. "But visitors do not come here without a reason." The man smiled politely. "My name is Daniel," he said. "I am only passing through. But I believe sometimes, the road brings you where you are meant to be." His voice was smooth, almost too smooth. Monica felt something stir inside her, Not fear, not excitement, but something she could not name. Grace suddenly appeared beside her, gripping her arm tightly. "Don't even think about it," Grace whispered. "Think about what?" Monica asked, though she already knew. "That man," Grace said. "People like him bring stories that never end well." But Monica couldn't look away. Daniel's eyes moved across the crowd, and for a brief moment they met hers. Time seemed to pause. It was only a second, but it felt longer. And in that second something changed. That evening, the village gathered again, this time under the fading light of the sunset. Daniel had been invited to speak, to explain his presence. Monica stood at the edge of the gathering, her heart quietly restless. "I come from the city," Daniel said, his voice carrying easily through the crowd. "A place of opportunities. A place where dreams are not just dreams." Some villagers murmured in disbelief. Others listened with interest. Monica listened with hunger. "There are jobs," Daniel continued. "Education. A chance to become more than what you are told you must be." Monica felt her chest tighten. "More than what you are told you must be." The words echoed in her mind. Pastor Samuel stepped forward again. "And what do you want from us?" Daniel smiled. "Nothing. But sometimes all a person needs is a chance." His gaze shifted again toward Monica. This time it did not feel like coincidence. It felt intentional. Later that night, Monica sat outside her family's hut, staring up at the stars. The village was quiet now, wrapped in darkness and soft sounds of insects. But her mind was loud. The stranger's words replayed again and again. Place where dreams are not just dreams. She closed her eyes. Could it be true? Or was it just another illusion like the reflections in the river? Behind her, her mother's voice broke the silence. "You've been quiet tonight." Monica turned slightly. "Mother, do you think there is more out there for me?" Her mother sighed gently. "There is always more out there. The question is, what will it cost you to find it?" Monica swallowed. She didn't have an answer. But deep in her heart, she knew one thing. She was going to find out. And somewhere in the darkness, far from the safety of the village, the path she was about to choose had already begun to change her life forever. The journey began before the sun could rise. Monica stood at the edge of the village road, holding a small bag that carried everything she owned. The air was cold, but her palms were warm with nervousness. Behind her, the village slept quietly, unaware that one of its daughters was about to step into a world she had only imagined. Grace stood beside her, arms folded tightly. "You can still change your mind," Grace said, her voice low but firm. Monica shook her head gently. "If I don't go now, I may never go." Grace looked away, blinking back tears. "Just don't forget who you are." Monica managed a small smile. "I won't." But even as she said it, something inside her wondered. What if I do? Car engine sounded in the distance. Daniel had arrived. The same shiny car from the previous day came to a stop in front of them. Dust rose around it as the engine went quiet. Daniel stepped out, calm and composed, as if nothing about this moment was unusual. "Are you ready?" he asked. Monica hesitated for a second. Then she nodded. She turned to Grace, and without words they embraced. It was not a long hug, but it carried everything they could not say. "Be careful," Grace whispered. "I will," Monica replied. And just like that she got into the car. As the vehicle began to move, Monica looked back through the window. The village slowly grew smaller, the huts fading into the distance, until they disappeared completely. For a moment her chest felt heavy, but then she turned forward. The road ahead was wide and unknown. Hours later everything changed. The city did not welcome quietly. It roared. Cars moved in all directions, horns blaring without pause. Tall buildings stretched into the sky, blocking the horizon. People walked fast, their faces serious, their eyes focused on places Monica could not see. She pressed her face lightly against the window, trying to take it all in. "This place," she whispered. Daniel smiled faintly. "It takes time to get used to." Monica nodded, though she wasn't sure if she ever would. Nothing here felt like the village. There were no familiar greetings, no slow conversations, no quiet mornings by the river. Everything was louder, faster, sharper. Even the air felt different. They finally stopped in front of a large building with shining glass doors. "This is where you'll stay for now," Daniel said. Monica stepped out slowly, looking up at the structure. Felt too big, too perfect, almost unreal. Inside, everything was even more overwhelming. Bright lights, clean floors, strange machines, people speaking in quick, confident tones. Monica clutched her bag tightly. "Don't worry," Daniel said, noticing her discomfort. "You'll learn." The first few days passed like a dream. Daniel provided clothes for her, different from anything she had ever worn. Soft fabrics, bright colors, styles she didn't understand but tried her best to carry. "You have to look the part," he told her. "The part of what?" she asked. He only smiled. "Of someone going somewhere." Monica didn't fully understand, but she nodded anyway. He took her to different places, restaurants, offices, streets filled with life. Each new experience felt like stepping into another layer of a world she had never known existed. But beneath the excitement something felt off. People smiled, but their smiles didn't always reach their eyes. Conversations sounded friendly, but there was always something hidden beneath the words. And Daniel was kind, yes, but sometimes his kindness felt calculated. One afternoon everything shifted slightly. Daniel took Monica to meet someone. They entered a quiet office on the top floor of a tall building. The room was large, with wide windows showing the entire city below. Behind a polished desk sat a man, Mr. Harrison. He did not stand up when they entered. He simply observed them, his fingers resting lightly on the table. "So," he said slowly, his voice calm but heavy, "this is the girl." Monica felt a chill run through her body. Daniel nodded. "Yes, her name is Monica." Mr. Harrison's eyes studied her carefully, as if measuring something she could not see. "Innocent," he said quietly. "That can be useful." Monica didn't understand what he meant, but the way he said it made her uncomfortable. "Welcome to the city, Monica," he added with a slight smile. "Thank you, sir," she replied softly. But something inside her whispered, "Be careful." Days turned into weeks. Monica began to adjust. She learned how to speak differently, how to dress, how to move with confidence even when she didn't feel it. But the more she learned, the more she noticed. Daniel always expected something in return for his help. Obedience, trust, silence. Mr. Harrison appeared only occasionally, but his presence always changed the atmosphere. And then there was Clara. Monica first noticed her in the hallway. Clara was different from the others. She walked with quiet confidence, her eyes sharp, her expression unreadable. One day Clara stopped her. "You're new," she said. "Yes," Monica replied. Clara tilted her head slightly. "I can tell." There was a pause. Then Clara leaned closer and said softly, "Be careful who you trust here." Monica frowned. "What do you mean?" But Clara had already stepped away. "Just be careful," she repeated before disappearing down the corridor. Monica stood there, confused. But those words stayed with her. That night Monica couldn't sleep. She sat by the window of her room, looking out at the city lights. They were beautiful, shining like stars on the ground. But they did not feel warm. She thought about the village, the river, race. For the first time since she arrived, she felt a deep ache in her chest. Had she made the right choice? A few days later, the truth began to reveal itself. It happened by accident. Monica was walking past a room when she heard voices inside. Daniel's voice. And Mr. Harrison's. She stopped. "You're sure she doesn't suspect anything?" Mr. Harrison asked. "She trusts me," Daniel replied. "For now." "That's good," Mr. Harrison said. We need her exactly like this. Monica's heart began to race. She's learning fast, Daniel continued. Soon she'll be ready. Ready for what? Monica felt her breath catch. And if she resists? Mr. Harrison asked. There was a brief silence. Then Daniel spoke. His voice colder than she had ever heard it before. She won't. Monica stepped back slowly, her hands trembling. The hallway suddenly felt too narrow, too quiet. Her mind raced with questions she didn't want answers to. What did they mean? What was she being prepared for? And most importantly, what had she walked into? That night, Monica sat alone in her room, her thoughts heavy and restless. The city still sparkled outside her window. But now she saw it differently. It was no longer just a place of dreams. It was a place of secrets. And she was right in the middle of them. The city no longer looked beautiful to Monica. The same lights that once amazed her now felt cold and distant. They still shone brightly through her window, but instead of hope, they carried a quiet warning. She had not been sleeping well. Every night, she lay awake, replaying the voices she had overheard. Daniel's calm assurance, Mr. Harrison's quiet control. Their words echoed in her mind like footsteps in an empty room. Asterisk, she trusts me. For now. Asterisk. Monica sat on the edge of her bed, her hands tightly clasped together. For now, she whispered. It hurt more than she expected. Daniel had been the first person to show her kindness in this strange place. He had guided her, helped her, even encouraged her when she felt lost. And now that kindness felt like a mask. Something worn, not something real. But what hurt even more was the truth she had to face. She had trusted too easily. The next morning, Monica behaved as if nothing had changed. She smiled when spoken to. She followed instructions. She moved through the building with the same quiet determination. But inside everything was different. She was watching now. Listening. Learning. Every word, every glance, every silence, she paid attention. And slowly, patterns began to appear. Daniel was careful with his words around her, but not always around others. Mr. Harrison rarely repeated himself, but when he spoke, people listened immediately. And the building itself, it wasn't just a place of work. It was a place where power moved quietly, where decisions were made behind closed doors, and where people like Monica were expected to play roles they didn't fully understand. Later that afternoon, Monica saw Clara again. This time she didn't hesitate. I need to talk to you, Monica said quietly. Clara looked at her for a moment, as if measuring her seriousness. Then she nodded. Follow me. They walked through a long hallway, away from the busy offices and into a quieter section of the building. Clara led her into a small room and closed the door behind them. The silence felt heavy. Monica spoke first. I heard them, she said. Clara didn't ask who. Instead, she crossed her arms slowly. What exactly did you hear? Daniel and Mr. Harrison, Monica replied. They were talking about me, like I was something to be used. Clara's expression didn't change, but her eyes softened slightly. Then you're starting to see, she said. Monica stepped closer. See what? Clara sighed quietly. This city isn't what it looks like. And the people who seem helpful are not always helping for the reasons you think. Monica's chest tightened. So it's true. Clara nodded. They brought you here because of what you represent, she said. You're new, untouched by the way things work here. That makes you valuable. Valuable for what? Monica asked, her voice unsteady. Clara paused, choosing her words carefully. For influence, she said. For appearances. For things that require someone who looks innocent. Monica felt a chill run through her. I don't want any part of that, she said quickly. Clara gave a small, almost sad smile. It's not always about what you want. That night, Monica sat by her window again. But this time she wasn't just thinking. She was deciding. She could not stay the same person she was when she arrived. That version of herself, the trusting girl from the village, would not survive here. If she wanted to protect herself, she had to change. Not completely, but enough. Over the next few days, Monica began to adapt in a new way. She still followed instructions, still smiled, still acted as expected. But now she asked quiet questions. She observed more carefully. She remembered details others ignored. She learned which doors stayed locked, and which ones didn't. She learned who spoke too much, and who stayed silent. And most importantly, she learned how to hide what she was thinking. One evening, Daniel approached her. "You've been quiet lately," he said. Monica looked up at him, her expression calm. "I'm learning." Daniel studied her face. "Good," he said. "That's exactly what you should be doing." There was a pause. "Are you comfortable here?" he asked. Monica held his gaze. "Yes," she said. It was the first time she had ever lied so easily. And that scared her. Later that same night, something unexpected happened. Monica was walking down a corridor when she saw Daniel standing alone near the window. He didn't notice her at first. His posture was different, less confident, less controlled. For a brief moment he looked tired, almost human in a way she hadn't seen before. "You're still awake," she said softly. Daniel turned, slightly surprised. "I could say the same about you," he replied. Monica hesitated, then stepped closer. "Why did you bring me here?" she asked. The question hung in the air. Daniel didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked out at the city lights. "It wasn't always like this for me," he said finally. "I didn't start out this way." Monica frowned. "What way?" He gave a faint, humorless smile. "The way you see me now." There was something in his voice, something real, something unguarded. For a moment, Monica felt her anger soften. But only for a moment. "Then why stay?" she asked. Daniel looked at her. His expression unreadable again. "Because leaving isn't as simple as you think," he said. That conversation stayed with Monica. It didn't erase what she had learned, but it complicated it. Daniel was not just a villain in her story. He was something else, something harder to define. Days later, Monica made her decision. She would not run, not yet. She needed to understand everything first. She needed to be smart, careful, prepared. So she began to plan. Quietly, patiently. She listened more closely to conversations. She noticed patterns in schedules. She paid attention to documents, names, and movements. And slowly, piece by piece, the truth began to form. Something bigger was happening. Something she had been pulled into without her consent. But just as she started to feel in control, everything shifted. One afternoon, as Monica entered her room, she stopped suddenly. Something was wrong. The air felt different. Her things had been moved. Just slightly, but enough for her to notice. Her heart began to pound. Then she saw it. A small object on the table. Note. Her hands trembled as she picked it up. There was only one line written on it. Asterisk. "You're asking too many questions." Asterisk. Monica froze. Her eyes widened as the weight of those words settled in. They knew. Someone was watching her. Maybe they had been all along. She slowly turned toward the door, her breath shallow. The room suddenly felt smaller, the walls closer. And for the first time since arriving in the city, Monica felt real fear.
Be sure to subscribe and comment in the comment section if you want a season 2 of this movie. Don't forget to tell us where you're watching from. Thank you.